There it
Okay.
is.
My name is Bo Young Ann. I go by Bo. I'm an international student going into my second year of the MFA program. I focus on illustration, but I do have like a very interdisciplinary practice, as you will see. Like the diamond that Ellen mentioned is like real. So I was born in Korea, but I was raised in Thailand. I did my undergrad at the University of Washington in Seattle, graduated in 2013, and then did like other things until I was thinking about like grad school. I didn't get into grad school the first time I applied because I applied to one school and I didn't know what I was doing. And then in 2020, I got into MCAT and like another school. But I think the application process, especially talking to Mary and Ellen, like it really helped me. You may know that MCAT does like a free portfolio review for like I think up to a few pieces, and that was really helpful. Um, yeah, and so my I guess like my slides are kind of like mirroring Ellen's. Like I'm gonna go in the order of like my favorite things about the program. And first is my mentorship with Sam Kalda. He's like an amazing person, an amazing illustrator. And I actually the thing with the mentorship is that you get to kind of pick your mentor. So you pick like 3 4 people you are really interested in their practice, and then you interview them, and if like if you vibe together, and then you decide to be like have the mentorship relationship. And with Sam, he was actually a first time mentor, and I'm his like first mentee. And my first when I heard about the mentorship centered program at MCAD, I was like, I'm gonna get a new mentor every semester. So I get to like, meet so many people. And then I met Sam and I'm like, I will keep him forever. So my second year going in, I'm pretty sure like I'm doing this semester with Sam, and next semester, like definitely he will see me to the end of this program. So what's great about the mentorship, and again, every one of them is different, but it's like a weekly meeting up to an hour, I think. And the great thing is that some of the mentors are already in the practice of whatever you're really interested in. And Sam is like not really affiliated with MCAT, so he brings a lot of outside knowledge, especially like industry knowledge, because he's an editorial illustrator, but he does a lot of like book covers and like mural-ish illustrations too. And your mentor really helps you set your goals because it's a very open-ended program, which is really great if you kind of want to, I guess, like take responsibility and like kind of like go have a direction that you have in mind, and then your mentor will do their best to support you in your endeavors. Yeah, so the next slide is just some of his amazing works that I love so much. So he's done like editorial for like I think the New Yorker is like the bottom left, and like the bottom right is his own book of Cats and Men, which is like an amazing book. He also has it in Korean and like in 5 other languages. Anyway, he's just a great person. And I know a lot of people feel the same way about their mentors, and we're like, no, no, I think my mentor is the best. They're like, no, mine is, and I'm like, I don't think so. Agree to disagree. Yeah. So going into grad school, I was like, I do design, illustration, like painting, etc. And I didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I really clicked with Sam, and I was like, oh, I'm really interested in illustration. And the first semester was really focused on just like kind of learning, not the yeah, learning the skills and kind of finding a project for me to do. And through a lot of like um making other stuff like these like prints and paintings, we decided on a retelling of a Korean folk tale. So it's like my main focus was to like revive like Korean folk tales and like traditions, and kind of like highlight Korean traditions. And so like I didn't know how to do most book making things. So Sam gave me like a crash course on like how to basically illustrate a book. So we did character design, many color studies, many spreads. So this is like the spread that I ended up with for the first 2 pages. And oh my gosh, book illustrate children book illustration is such a process, but I love like every step of it. 2 other spreads that I worked on. We also like dabbled in editorial, but then I was like, maybe I should focus on my book. So like we've put editorial on hold. MFA mid-program review. I was very nervous about this because it's kind of like your final where you should like show what you've done in the year. But it was such a great opportunity to really like sit down and like see what you've made and like how each work informs one another. So like I did embroidery, printmaking, like the huge, like it's not huge, a big like ink painting. And you basically like put together an exhibition, put together like documents of all the like references that informed your work, and you kind of give a presentation and start a conversation with like a panel of people. And it was such a great opportunity just because I don't think I've ever been like that confident in talking about my work. And I think it was through practice, during critiques, during class. Like we had like Friday critiques where like students just like organize their own critiques to do. Especially when we're like, I have a critique next week, can I have a critique? And then like we would do critiques like that. And also it really helped me utilize the materials that we learned in class, where you actually have the words to describe your practice, and like all like the artsy words and like the movements and like the themes. Yeah, so this was like my corner of the exhibition. So that's like my embroidery and like my children's book, the prints and the paintings. So other on-campus opportunities, starting grad school during COVID is, I think it was one of my best ideas. Like pre coming, I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And like when I got here, I was like, best idea ever. So even though the pandemic was like in full force, like pre-vaccination, we had so many opportunities to show our work. Like the MFA Fall Show, we managed to do it because like we did it outside, and this year's going to be outside as well. Gallery 148, I got to do my first group show, which was like really, you really get to take initiative of like how you want an exhibition to look like, which I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. And then like we did like a really, I think, a great exhibition. And then the suitcase gallery, which is like the print, it's in front of the print shop, and it's like a smaller area, but it's like a great way to like kind of practice how you want to arrange a show. And it's a lot of work to put together a show, not just to make your stuff. So I think it helps you kind of like formulate how the audience also can view your work, not just you making your work. And as Ellen mentioned, I have a library show coming in September where I'm like frantically making things for, like this piece is gonna go up there. And there's a Made at MCAT show, and it's like an undergrad and graduate student show of like basically what students are making currently. I didn't get in. So one thing you should also know about these shows are that they are somewhat competitive. It's still within like the community, but like you learn how to apply for shows, write artist statements, write exhibition statements, and it's what you actually have to do in real life, but it's like less intense because it's in school, but it's still intense because it's competitive. Anyway, so like a lot of great opportunities even during COVID, and I think I have photos coming up. Yeah, so on the left, top left is the fall. Can you see my cursor?
Yes, I can see
okay.
it. It's perfect.
Okay, so this is the fall show that we did outside around the outside of the main building, socially distanced. That was the 148 show. That's my professor, Billy, who is so awesome. And that's my mentor, like my favorite person on earth. And then this is the suitcase gallery. And you also get to make, or I think for the library show, you have to make your own poster, but like the suitcase gallery also makes you a poster for your show, which is like so awesome. Like it feels like so legitimate, and it is legitimate. But I was like, oh my gosh, my first like poster for my own show. And it was really exciting. Yeah, so another amazing aspect. Am I going over time? Sorry,
you're okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So another great opportunity is the graduate assistantships. And it can be in teaching and non-teaching positions. I'm very interested in teaching in higher ed after graduating. So I've been having all the teaching positions. But it really helps you kind of like, it also informs my practice. It's also part of your scholarship, and you get to really like learn how to work with the professionals in your field already. Like, for example, with me and like the professors I work with. And then it's such an amazing hands-on learning opportunity that I didn't really like. I was like, oh yeah, it's like a GTA ship. But then when I got in, I was like, this is amazing. It's like another class, but like you don't have to do homework for it. And then you get like so much knowledge at once. And you're like, this is so great. Um, so the breakdown of my classes, the first semester, I was actually a GTA for a MA course, Masters of Art in Graphic and Web Design.
Yep.
Okay, so I was like, what? Design and context with Ana Llorente, and she was amazing. I learned so much just from the class content, but through leading critiques and like through discussion. Semester 2, professional practice for undergrads with Reagan and Michael Carrigan. They're both really great. Getting to learn like sit in on 2 professors teaching at once was like such an amazing experience, and it was all online. And like how they conduct their class, I was like, that is what I want my class to be. So that's like just a lot of learning. And during the summer, I got to do the pre-college summer session in illustration with Brian Britigan, who is like an amazing illustrator. He actually went to undergrad with me, and one of our years overlapped or something, and we're like, what? But yeah, so it was like really cool. So basically I got to teach high school, undergrad, and graduate students in like a year, which is amazing. Semester 1 this year, I'm gonna do foundational drawing with Aki Shibata, who is also amazing. I had a studio visit with her last semester, also studio visits. Sorry, I'm gonna hold that thought. But she's an undergrad professor, but she also works with Springboard for the Arts, which is like a art organization in Minneapolis. There's so many organizations in Minneapolis, which is amazing. Yeah. So on top of everything, there are other things you can do. So my first semester, it really started off broad. I did paintings, like everything I showed you about that I did in the mid program review. I also started like wood carving and like dyeing with natural things that I found in my kitchen, because why not? All the while doing my illustration project. We have continuing education classes, which are like shorter, more intensive, not intensive, but it's like they're shorter courses that are, I think, like 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not sure about the time, but it's shorter, and you can take that on top of your classes because you get like a free CE class credit. I didn't use it my second semester. I'm kind of really bummed about it. So I'm trying, but I was like so busy, and my mentor was like, maybe you shouldn't do a CE class this semester. I was like, okay, yeah. And I did one during the summer because we also get that for the summer as well. It was amazing. Studio visits. So you just like ask like really cool artists. You're like, hey, you want to do a studio visit? And they're like, sure. And then you talk about art, like your art, and like they give you so much resources from like a non-professor point of view. Or like even like maybe artists that haven't gotten their MFA or like are just like went straight to art. Like it's like, so you get so many different points of view of different industries, and I thought that was like really great. I did like so many just because I just wanted to talk about art all the time. The visiting artists during critiques are also so great. I think your professor chooses them, and like during my 2, well, I had 3 critiques because I was so eager to just do more. They just bring in the best of the best because I mean our professors are already awesome, and they know really awesome people that they bring into our class. Professional practice, these are also, I think, sometimes recorded, but like just getting very like, I don't know how to say it. It's like kind of information that you can't Google about like applications, residency applications. One is one like I attended, and just like very like specific information that you wouldn't otherwise know, that you would use right after grad school, like job applications, residency applications, how to talk about your art, things like that. Launch programs, amazing. Off-campus opportunities, because MCAT has a lot of connections outside of school, and it doesn't guarantee you anything, but like you get to like talk to so many people, meet new people. um there still were a lot despite it being COVID. I think it's because where we are in the world, like in Minneapolis, there's so many opportunities. Every time I open Instagram, they're like open call, and I was like, another one. Yeah, it's like everywhere. And so these are some of the things that I've done. Like this show was by, oh my gosh, oh, Left Field, and they do like projections on the Northrop King building, which is also like an arts building. And I got to do it with Ellen, which is really cool. And I'm not a video artist, but why not? And then the wood carving, and then like other paintings that I was doing while I was doing my main project with my mentor. So you don't have to just work on the project you're working with your mentor, but your mentor can also like help you with other projects. I don't know, like Sam would like give me critiques, but he's like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm an illustrator. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like, I just want your feedback on everything I do. And this was actually from my summer CE class. It was intensive typography. And I'm really interested in design. And I initially wanted to do my focus in design, but then illustration happened, which I'm glad it did. But I was like, oh, how do I still do design? Continuing ed classes. And now I have like 2 design pieces if I ever want to go into design for my portfolio. Highlights Foundation. So the workshop we attended was a children's book illustration intensive 2-week course. And it started off with like a character design thing or like a storyboarding thing. And it's as much effort as you put in, but I think I was like in quarantine because I went to Korea this summer and I had time to make things. And then anyway, so but what this program offered was that we got to work with Anna Raff and James Ransom, who are established full-time children's book illustrators, and they brought in, I forgot their names, but like they brought in other amazing children book illustrators, and they gave us so much insight into the specific like, because it's like not editorial or anything, like it was specifically for children book illustration, and it was information that I never could have dreamed. Like I didn't even think information like that like existed. I don't know, it was like about like the industry, like how to get jobs, like also just like more projects for your portfolio. So we did character design and like storyboarding. So these are the fruits of my labor from the Highlights Foundation. I think that is my last slide. Yes. Okay. Thank you. If you have any
Awesome.
questions, you can email me. I have 2 Instagram handles because I'm chaotic. The first one is for like my fine arts, and then like the second one is for my illustration. Also check out my website,